What is going on, everyone? My name is Parker, and today I am hoping to do a world tour of my 8-year-old-ish Minecraft world. Uh, I This is a new thing to me. I've never recorded or posted anything from this world before. Um, like I said, my name is Parker. My name is Pencilhead, I think. What does it show up in the chat? Yeah, Pencilhead. That's my tag. I'm playing on Java. Uh, version 1.18. I just got the update last night. So my game's been running a little funny. I don't have Optifine yet, and I have my render distance set to 30 right now just to get a good view of my city before we do the tour of this world. The creeper's lagging a little bit because I have my render distance all the way up. I'll turn that down in a second, but just wanted to give you a view of the skyline before I start the tour or show you around my 8-year-old world here on Minecraft, Java. Go back down to, I usually play on about 25 chunks, but like I said, since I don't have Optifine yet, it doesn't run the best since I got the update. And the update yesterday really did quite a few things to bug out my world. And I've tried to fix them, but it, I think I've got it now, so it's not nearly as bad. Um, But anyways, yeah, let's get on with this world. So this world is about 8 years old, and I say that it's a little bit fuzzy the timeline when I started this world exactly. I do know that I started it on Java 1.5.2. Back in the day, it was on my old business HP laptop that I got from my dad. Probably had like half a stick of RAM in it, or half a gig of RAM in it, and I couldn't play with my render distance up at all, and it lagged really bad. I've got a much better computer now, but this world itself is roughly about 8 years old. Um, I've It's probably been through eight or so, maybe 10 different computers as I've transferred or moved up and gotten different computers to play on. So I've gone through different phases. What the crap is this? It's been a while since I've been through this portal. I'm gonna go to my spawn to start the tour, and kind of give you a little bit of, I guess, feel for this world and all the different phases I've gone through and learning. I've had a few other survival worlds. I think I had three really before this that I kind of built castles and did a few things, but I didn't have any survival world that I really consistently played like this. And I went through phases, and um, maybe you'll see that as we go through the world, what I've learned and how my building in Minecraft has kind of developed. Um, so I think I wanted to show this first. This is the skin I'm currently using. I don't I don't have I like to switch my skins a lot. I actually looked. This is kind of funny. My brothers and my friends that play with me on this world kind of tease me about this current skin I have. I looked up like Roman Empire Emperor or something on Skin Dex because I like changing my skins a lot. And I chose this one because I thought it was like Caesar or something, but I'm pretty sure it's Jesus. And but I haven't changed it because I don't know. I think kind of looks cool when I have my armor on. I do have texture packs on, but this is a vanilla world. I don't have mods other than Optifine or maybe some performance, but I don't have any game altering mods. I usually like to just stick to straight vanilla. Um, but I have texture packs on, like my elytra look like dragon wings and uh, little things like this. Also, stained glass. I have stained glass. It's got a different texture than a normal glass just because it makes my skyscrapers in my city look bigger. But I'll discuss that more when I get there. So this is the spawn point of my world. I think it's like right about here. It's not 0, 0, uh, but it's pretty close. Maybe this somewhere around here. But this is where I spawned. Um, And I've come back here. These aren't super recent farms that I've built, but I came back here to try and build some farms that would always be running because they were by spawn. And over here, I have an automatic chicken cooker. It doesn't look pretty, but it makes quite a bit of chicken, and um, it's good for someone that just joins the world. I can tell them to just go get chicken. If like I have a new friend that joins, or any of my brothers or friends that play with me, or my wife when she comes and needs food, usually I'll go get it for her. That farm's always running, as well as this iron farm, which, if you've played Minecraft for a while, you might recognize this is a pre 1.14 or pre village update farm. That's why I've got all these doors everywhere. I've outfitted it now so that it kind of works with the new mechanics, but I've gotten to the point where this world is so old and I have so many things in it that I like to keep things around for nostalgia and to just, remember. Let's get these out of my inventory so it doesn't look so clustered. Just to remember where I've come from, and the things that I've previously done and how the world's looked, in years past. Um, so like this is kind of a good example of that. This isn't the first iron farm I built on this world. I've built another one that, I'm a little bit more proud of just because it was the first one, actually I think, that I made ever in any survival world. But this one is, I think this was the second one that I made. But it still works. It's not very fast, but it still works. This is an XP and gold farm. It looks really ugly because I didn't care to decorate it. I have another farm like this that's over in my city, and I'll show that. That looks a little better over here. But basically, it's just an XP farm, to fix all my netherite stuff that has mending on it. And all it is there's a snowman up there and a bunch of portals that make these pigmen spawn. The rotten flesh I take out and trade with villagers, and I take the gold nuggets and make gold bars. So it's not, the most efficient. I'm sure I could make a more efficient farm in the future if I really needed gold, but I don't really use gold that much. Um, and this farm's been here for probably over a year, maybe 2 years. And it's kind of the same thing with this farm. I like keeping things around just to go back and see. And I'm gonna be posting this video to YouTube and maybe starting my own YouTube channel. But I'm not really trying to grow it like I want a lot of subscribers, and I'm not gonna beg people to like my videos. I think I'm more so making this channel, to inspire others, maybe if they see some of my builds or some of the farms. I'm not a super technical player, but I think I've got a couple good farms that I've made and figured out after trial and error. Um, but I'm trying to make this YouTube channel for that. If I don't want to make it super big. I don't, I've got a full-time job. I work about 60 hours a week, and I manage semi trucks, and I don't have a lot of time to devote to a channel, even if there was enough people requesting videos from me or to do things. I don't know if I'd really have enough time to edit and post videos. So, but if there's enough demand, I'll do a few videos here and there, but I won't be consistent and I won't make promises on what I will or won't upload. I'm just kind of making this world tour for me, more so just to see. I, I, I plan on playing on this world almost indefinitely, even with every update that comes out. Like with the most recent update, there's now more caves to explore, the mountains, and so I plan on keeping this world forever. And I want to make these videos for me to go back and see and have kind of like a journal or a scrapbook to keep for my world so that I can go back and see how it's changed. And, like I said, so this is the first place really that I started building when I made this world. And when I made this world, I had a very distinct plan in mind. I mean, back in 1.5.2, there wasn't really a lot you could do. I mean, you could kind of build things in creative world on uh, like a flat world in creative. You could make cool things, or in survival, everyone just made castles and fought their friends and on land worlds. And so when I made this world, I thought, hey, I'm going to name it Craft Castle. Me and my friends are all going to get together, build our own castles, and fight and see who's the best at building castles and fighting or whatever. I don't know. So this is the first castle that I kind of built. I came here and I thought I was so cool because I had a lava gate. Um, just basic cobblestone, not really any interior decorating. But for the time, I made this castle probably 7 years ago, and it started out small. It was just, probably the bottom layer here, and then later I made this balcony where I could farm Enderman or whatever. Um, and actually, I never actually finished this tower, I don't think, because later my brother came when he played with me later in the world. He came and he actually lived in this castle for a while. Oh, I actually made this, and so I named this castle Solitude Castle after coming back, and I made this timeline. I think I lived here about 2012 to 2013, and Sir Massive Heart, that's my brother's account. I might, if the channel kind of grows, and maybe I'll do live streams where I'll play with him and build weird things. He comes in this world. He doesn't really have a home. I mean, he has a castle that he's building kind of by my city, but but he plays on here with me, and so anyways, but like I said, I started this world and I had that idea. I'm gonna build castles. I named the world Craft Castle, and that was my plan. I'm gonna build castles. I'm gonna fight my friends, and I'm gonna blow up their castles. So there's not a lot to see here. Here's a cobblestone generator that I made. Oh crap, it might not be on. Oh, it does still work. Okay. Yeah, so I made this because, I didn't want to go mining, of course. But I did have a couple mines over here. There's like a secret exit. And I've got a pig corral I made in this desert valley. My mine's over there. I could go show it, but there's not really anything there that matters. I used to have cows, but I killed them all for leather because, I don't know. That was my first garden I made. And I wonder if it's still over here. Oh, it's not here. So I remember originally I didn't know how sheep worked. And so I had a sheep trapped here and I sheared it once, but since it's not over grass, it never grew its wool back. And I remember being so frustrated because I had a sheep that wouldn't grow wool and I wanted the wool to do cool things. Um, oh, that's funny. I've got a bunny trapped over here. Oh, wow. Made it out. So, anyways, I had this castle for a little bit, but I got sick of living in the desert. I I mean, deserts are great, but well, I guess I say that. My new city over there that I've built is actually made on desert because it's so easy to flatten deserts and you use the sand to make glass. But at the time, 7 years ago or so, I built this castle and I kind of got sick of it. And I think at the time, maybe it was the Elytra update when they made like the first Extreme Mountains, not nearly as extreme as like 118 that came out 2 days ago. But the Shattered Savannas, uh, when the update came out, I remember I came over here and I saw these mountains and I thought, wow, I gotta build a castle over here. Um, and kind of similar to how this Caves and Cliffs update has been, everyone's kind of known about it for a while. Um, I remember the the pillage and village update was kind of one of those updates that everyone knew was coming. Mojang had kind of teased it, and people were talking about how awful villagers were before the 1.14 update. And so I had in my mind, because we knew that raids were coming, I was going to make a huge castle, which I kind of started but never finished. And then I was going to make a village up on the hill. And it would be so easy to defend from raiders. And, when they do raids, it'd be so easy to kill the pillagers. Um, Obviously now, mechanic wise, it doesn't work that great because all the villagers or the pillagers get stuck on a mountain and kind of ruin it, but it's all good. So this is my secret entrance to my first kind of home, I guess. I'm very proud of this, by the way. This secret door. Oh, that's really dark for some reason. Um, I put this in quite a bit later. But when I first came over here, I knew that I wanted to build on this mountain, but I needed a secret place to put all my special stuff. So obviously people could find my castle, and I didn't want them to come up and just easily steal all my diamonds or whatever I thought was valuable at the time. So I came down here and made this secret little hideout or stronghold. Um, I've got some chests in here. I haven't been down here in a while, but I've got ender chest and I at the time this used to be stacked full of chests, and you used to not be able to put chests next to each other uh, like this. But so that's why you see old school, item storage areas. Guys would always put walls in between their chests because you couldn't stick them together. Um, I did have like a brewing stand here, and that's infinite water. But not a lot here since I don't really live here anymore. But I spent a lot of time in this area. That used to be a map wall, which I took down and put somewhere else. Over here, I had a portal, and this is where my enchantment table used to be, but I moved it because I don't live here anymore. And oh, safe house stronghold. Okay, so I've kind of gone through and I've put dates, like I said, for the nostalgia part, to kind of see where I was at the time and how long it's been. And according to this wall, I worked out of here for quite a while. And this is an old job wall, I guess. Build more stuff. Woodland Mansion. I still have not found the Woodland Mansion on this map. I tried to go for a while, but it is so far away I gave up and came home. But build more farms, finish castle. Yeah, that never happened. But anyways, so this is the stronghold that I lived out of for a while, and I used to do everything in here. To get out, I just push the button. Do not ask me to recreate this because I have no idea how I did it, and I'm just glad it still works after all this time later. Over here is my first mine. I won't really show you the mine itself. What the heck? Darn Enderman. But the one thing I am very proud about on this mine, fall down here. Whoa. This is supposed to be bedrock. I guess it's now deep slate. That's cool. I still need to dig down more. But my big area that I've carved out is up there. But the most thing I'm proud of down here is my working elevator that I made of minecarts. This took me forever to do. At the time, I had some iron, but most of the iron I had at the time when I built this elevator was just iron that I've mined out. Now I have about 7 iron farms that are always running in this world, at least when I'm in my city and around them. So iron is not something that I need all that much, but I have plenty of it now. So I'm wondering, which way should I go for this tour? I built a staircase up there, but this used to be like a really jagged, steep cliff, and I put these stairs here afterwards. I mean, I say recent. It's not really that recent. It's like still 3 years ago that I did this. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I keep having that stuttering. Hopefully it goes away when Optifine releases a 1.18 patch. I think I'll go this way. So I started there. I made my little hobbit hole, my hidden hole over there, and I knew that I needed villagers for the Village and Pillage update, which was probably still 2 years out at the time. And so I made this path over here. None of this was here at the time. Oh, it's so laggy. Maybe I should turn it down to 19. I made this path over to here, and this is the village that I basically decided to get all my villagers from and kind of come in and save. And for some reason, when I got here, let's see, maybe I should go up here to kind of show you. Maybe this gives you a better representation. For some reason, this, I believe this is plateau savanna. Oh no, it's just a normal savanna. That's weird. So there's this village here. Some of these buildings are original, like those ones were all original. But when I first got here, this village was completely buried by like a plateau. So probably to where that wood is, 3, 4 blocks higher than it was now. All these houses were buried, and there was villagers trapped in all of it. And I just thought it was the funniest thing ever. So of course I decided that I was going to be the king over this village. I was going to build my castle up there, which I will go and show you in a minute. Oh my gosh, that stuttering is awful. So the first thing I did when I got here, jeez, turn this down maybe. I already got everything else turned down. But what I did is I dug the village out, kind of, as much as I could with stone tools at the time or iron tools at the time. And I took all the doors, because at the time, pre-114, villagers responded to doors, not to beds. And so I took all the doors off of all the buildings, and I locked all the villagers in here. And see if my, well, maybe I should open to land. I don't claim to be perfect, as nobody should. But I have an X-ray. Please don't crash my game. I have an X-ray texture pack, and I have used it many times in building. I'm so sorry about the stuttering. It is so bad. Gosh, I don't know why it's so bad. But as you can see, I stacked this whole thing with doors, and that was because I was trying to make the villagers grow and have lots of babies and increase the population. And sorry if you hear snoring, my dog Zane is asleep on my feet. I have a cute little French bulldog. He's annoying and fun at the same time. But I was trying to, get lots and lots of villagers because I knew that villager trading is it's not essential in the game, but when it comes to later on in the game, it's very helpful to have villagers around to get you things like tools or especially enchantments that are harder to get. I have another chicken farm here, like at spawn, and I have a wheat farm that is here that a villager, I don't know if I named him, I should probably name him, but he won't despawn. So I get the wheat from this wheat farm comes out, and everything used to go in these chests, but I've now plumbed a hopper line into my main sorting room, and I'll show that a little bit later in the tour. But yeah, I'm very proud of this wheat farm because it was, once I kind of dug everything out, I came back and I built it um, like right as the Village and Pillage update came out, and it's worked great since. And I haven't had to do anything to it, and no updates have killed it. This ugly building is a pig farm that doesn't work. It worked for like a minute, but it's only semi-automatic. It's not fully automatic like the chicken or wheat farm. Um, there's pigs in the top. You feed them, the babies fall through. Got some cooked pork in there. It kind of works, but not like it used to. The babies would fall down here. You'd push the lever. They'd stand on a trapdoor. When they grow up, they'd cook in lava and pork chops. That building is empty. I don't know what to call it. It's just a giant eyesore right now. But it's made out of iron that I got from an iron farm I made in 1.14.1, and I'll talk about that probably in a minute. So I built this staircase. I was coming up here. I decided to start making my village up here that was impenetrable against raiders, which is not how it works. And I'm not going to go through and show all these buildings because most of them are just empty buildings with beds and doors. But I have some villagers up here now. They don't breed very fast because I'm hardly ever over here. But I trapped all the villagers in this little hole with carrots, and yeah, the population grew very, very fast. Um, yeah, most of this is just empty buildings that I've built to try and mimic looking like a village. This right here is a church that I built, and it's actually based off of a church in Ohio that I went to. Nothing too fancy here, but I was pretty proud of it at the time because I forgot about those llamas. Um, but I started dyeing glass, and that was kind of new to me. And this is the texture pack I have that I really like. It's just stained glass or something. You can get it on Planet Minecraft. But I built this church here to kind of stand out, and the roof is slabs, so nothing can spawn up there. Um, there's stairs up there that can take you to the roof. Um, and I guess the steeple right there. Um, right. I don't know if there's anything else really I should talk about that. This is a very ugly square watchtower I made, and if I cared enough, I'd probably come and change it, but I don't care enough. I'm not really quite sure what this tower is I made. I was kind of still in my building phase where I was getting used to making things that were decorative and not all just cobblestone or not all just smooth brickstone. And I was kind of experimenting, and I think from building the different towers here, I got a lot more experience for making like modern skyscrapers, which is kind of what I like to build now. I'm not really in a medieval mood anymore, so if I do get in a medieval mood, maybe I'll come back and expand. I've got a lot of other mountain areas or savanna plateaus that I've leveled out, um, just if I wanted to, expand and make more castles and stuff. This is just a big hotel building. I was trying to make it so that I could have lots of villagers in here. My cousin built this one. Oh, yeah, okay. Devious Death. Yeah, he built that. Uh, so, this tower right here, maybe I should get a better view of it from over here. Disregard this castle I'm landing on. I'll talk about that in a minute. This tower right here is probably the thing I'm most proud of in all of my, I guess, mountain village area. Because I knew I wanted to build this castle, which is obviously still not done. But I was like, I need to build a tower that looks cool and that will, I guess, give me the experience that I'll need to build a castle. And so I kind of experimented a little bit. I had a lot of diorite. Is that the white stuff? I think. Um, and I just made that, and it turned out really good somehow. And I liked it so much that I made it like the exact same tower over there, and that one's actually made with iron because at that point in the game I had so much iron. But this tower itself, I am so proud of it because I made it. I didn't really have anyone show me how to do anything. It was literally just I just made it, and I was experimenting with curves and the slabs on top so nothing spawns. And so I think that of that as like my gateway to get over here to my castle. And when I picked out this location for my castle, um, maybe if I fly down here, I can get a better view. Um, this mountain was really weird, and I knew I wanted to put my castle here because there was kind of like a flat area there. I had to do obviously a lot of terrain flattening to build the village there, but this area up here was was already like pretty flat. I only had to do like 2 layers of stone and a little bit of dirt. But it was already flat like that, and it kind of looked funny, and I knew that something had to go there. You can kind of see my skyline over there. Um, let's see. And this gate, I believe, still works. Okay, yeah. It's about the only thing here that does work. To open it, you have to click it twice for the gravel to fall. But yeah, so this is kind of what I was trying to envision, making a cooler gate, but I didn't know how to do it at the time. And obviously, I probably watched a YouTube video to do that. I'm not that redstone savvy. Um, but the gate worked. Oh, there you go. My castle, July 2017. I kind of did this wall. I've got iron golems here to protect it, but I'm never up here, so it's not like there's anything they're really protecting. I don't have any valuables up here anymore. This doorway I'm pretty proud of, and when I if I ever do come back to finish it, I want it to kind of look like the Disney Cinderella castle with the spire sticking up in the background, the spires and the towers. So I've got 4 towers there that'll all be different heights and have different colored roofs, but that's for another day. And I made it. I came back probably like 2 years after building this, and I put down the purpler and the oh shoot, what's this stuff called? Prismine. Right, I knew that. Oh, dang it. Prismine. I came back later because obviously at the time I didn't have my Guardian farm set up because I didn't really even know what a Guardian farm was. But anyways, right. So at the time I didn't have Elytra, and honestly I've only had like Elytra in this map for probably the last year. I was such a baby, I didn't even I went and fought the Ender Dragon, and that was pretty easy. And since then we've respawned and fought the Ender Dragon a few times, and we fought the Wither several times. But I didn't have Elytra because I didn't want to go and throw the pearls and make bridges through the different islands in the end void or whatever that dimension is called. So a lot of the time, I ran this road several times going to my little hideout to the village when I was trying to do things and build farms. And right here is where I made my first farm. And I wish I had pictures of it and how it looked back then. So this is the farm I showed at spawn. That one um, was the second one I made on this world. This is my first ever farm. I made it in 2015. And as you can see, old style, has the doors. Um, it's so weird when your Elytra picks you up. But I I've now retrofitted it, and the villagers are up top in a pod. And I tried to mess around with it several times when the village mechanics got changed. Like I tried to put them out here on the corners, but then the golems spawned down there. Um, and so now I've just got this weird box that they're in with smithing tables and beds and the bell. And it's not like it's super inefficient. There's obviously ways that I could make it more efficient if I had a village, not a village, a zombie, like if he was on a rail and he came around. Oh, there's one now. So it does work. If I had like a villager system that would scare them with zombies. I would probably make twice as much. But I, especially when I've got people playing with me on the server, I'm constantly putting it back into peaceful, and it always despawns your zombies. So that's really annoying. This tower that I kind of made, I made it later when I had a whole bunch of extra stone from cutting out a mountain or a savanna plateau. Um, but that's really just to hide it. And this honeycomb I got from my honey farm, which I might, yeah, I'll probably go show it really quick. It's not too hard. This building right here is oh my gosh, it won't stop lagging. So at the time, I think this is right when I actually started having like my cousin and my brother and my other, and I was like, okay, I actually showed two of them where my other hideout was, and I'm like, okay, I gotta have another hideout to hide all my special stuff that comes from my farms. So at the time, this desert is the weirdest thing, and I don't know why I chose to build my city here in this desert, but I did. This desert was like a really weird mountain with lots of shallow caves, so it was very uneven uh, sand. And so I kind of dug this hole right here. This used to be a sand like mountain, and I dug this hole, and I have a door right here. It broke. So I put these levers here. Oh, come on. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, it's definitely not automatic, and I'm just gonna leave that closed. It used to work, doesn't work anymore, and I don't remember how I made the first one, and somehow the first one still works, and I'm just not gonna try and replace it because I don't know how to or I care. Um, so this was kind of an area where I was trying to keep my valuable stuff, and it was supposed to be another hidden area, like a little cave somewhere. Desert storage and sorting hideout, 2018, decommissioned in 2021. So like 3 months ago, I totally took this offline when I piped all of my farms over here to my main storage and sorting area. But you can kind of see the remnants of where I had like my mob grinder stuff is over here, so bones and gunpowder and uh, iron, and still got some poppies. I don't know what to do with them. Sugar cane and my other farms were here too, but I went through and cleaned that up. And so I started making this area like my farm of farm areas. I've got all this moss. I would make a moss farm that was automatic. At least I think you can. But I just don't use moss enough. I don't care. These are those new glowberry plants. I don't actually know how to make them grow glowberries, but I mean, they're not that good anyways. They give you like one heart. And those stupid new cherry thorn bushes you find, sweet berries. I mean, it's nice that Mojang makes a variety of things for you to use, but they're just they don't match with like especially chicken where you can get automatic chicken cooker farm, and I have so much chicken I don't know what to do with, and it restores your health so much faster. But anyways, I've got my melon farm here. It's hooked up to my automatic sugarcane farm, and so occasionally it'll get me some pumpkins and watermelons. Eh, This is the inside of my sugarcane farm. It's gone through a couple different, oh, don't want to fall in there. It's gone through a couple different versions. I've ripped it up a few times. Whoa, what was that? That was a lag spike. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. If I make any new videos on with Optifine and when I figure out how this new game version works, I will make it so it runs better. This is awful. This is kind of new. I got a stalactite from here. I actually got it from like a wandering trader, and I made it a farm, and now it's automatic. It's not very fast, but you know, it's a farm, I guess. I used to have a cactus farm here, but I made a new one and moved all the cactus out. I'm not really a horse guy. I've got this stupid horse here. He's really slow. Um, so, anyways, I leave him in this hole, and I don't really come back here anymore since everything's automatic, and so I never see him. Sad. This building is nothing special. It's not really an automatic farm or anything. It's just I wanted to make like a skyscraper where every level was a different plant. And so like the bottom level is wheat and like carrots and stuff. I some of these buildings I wish I could just go back and demolish because I hate them. This building right here, as you can see, it's kind of the Empire State Building is what I'm trying to make right now. Um, Let me fly inside and use the bed in there. Sleep out the night, and then I'll come back and show you what this actually is. I think you'll like this. So this is where I got quite a bit of my iron, like 2 years ago. Let's see, I don't think I have anything of value in here. Let's see. Oh man, it lags so much. I hate to turn my distance down, but you know, guess I'm making a video. I don't need that up. So this is the Empire State Building, and it's my 1.14 village update farm. I built it in April 2019. I guess that's when the update came out. Later, I came back and made it in the Empire State Building to try and cover it up. But this is what it is. Obviously, it doesn't work now like it did when the update first came out. But when the first update came out for 1.14, there was no cap on how many villagers could spawn iron golems in a certain area. Oh, that's cute. That guy's getting hurt. Um, there was no cap on how many could spawn in a given area. So each villager, the way it works, I guess, is 3 times a day in a Minecraft day, a villager can spawn an iron golem if they have a bed, if they have a workstation. I think when they first wake up, they talk to each other. They like chat. So that'll spawn one. And then after that, they go at like noon to their workstation. They work, that can spawn one. And then after work, they chat and socialize on the way out home from work. And that can spawn one too. And so at the prime, once I first finished this farm would produce about probably 50 to 60 iron golems, maybe even more than that, every time they would chat, go to work, or chat before they go to bed. And so I was literally getting 150 to 200 iron golems per Minecraft day that would fall down and die in this killing chamber. And obviously I've gone through and I've let a lot of the villagers out, and most of them burned in that pit, the killing chamber. But yeah, I had so much iron, I did not know what to do with myself. I was filthy rich, and at the time, the best thing I had going for me was an automatic door. And so I had all this iron, I didn't know what to do with myself, and then 1.14.1 came out, and that ruined everything. It really slowed this farm down, and it made it so even though I had like 200 villagers here lagging at my old computer, which at the time I was playing on a 2013 Alienware laptop, which was good, but it wasn't that good. So yeah, so I had to do something and get rid of some of that lagging. I've kind of put a couple other farms around here. Oh man, so many lag spikes. Like I've got sheep and cows and pigs, which I probably should get rid of because I don't really need them here. It doesn't affect the spawn rate, but anyways. This used to be another cobblestone farm that no longer works, and I took the pistons out. This is the killing chamber. So iron drops down here and it goes through here, which goes to my automatic item sorter. This is a system that throws away poppies, the red flowers. And, oh, okay. So I don't, this iron farm throws away the red flowers. My other ones don't, my other four don't. So I still have plenty of poppies that end up in my mass iron sorter. Oh my gosh, it keeps stuttering. Hopefully Optifine figures this out soon. Where are you going, dude? So I built that. I had tons of iron, and I thought, well, I got to build an iron building. So I built this. This, I don't know what I really call this, maybe just my iron tower. If you come inside, you see I made a mob grinder out of another brick, which is not good because Enderman, I believe, can pick up this stuff. And so Enderman would constantly pull the walls out, and then it'd be light, and then stuff wouldn't spawn in there. So I made it out of iron. The Enderman can't pick it up, and so the mob grinder still works. Fly up here. And up here, there's nothing special. I'm gonna crash and die if my game doesn't fix itself. This is my purpler farm. I farm purpler, but I don't really build with purpler, so other than that tower, that's Dr. Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. So anyways, I built that, and then I came over here, and the first two buildings that I really started that like I knew I wanted to have skyscrapers here were my twin towers. And at the time, like I said, this was a very uneven desert. And so this was really treacherous area to get through. And with my city over there, let's maybe turn this distance up a little bit, turn this down, see what happens. With my village over there, it was really a trek for me to go over there, get food, and run all the way over here. But I knew that for some reason I gave up on castles and villages, and I wanted to build skyscrapers at this point for some reason. I'm not really quite sure why, but I'm glad I did. You know, I love going to big cities like New York and seeing the towers. So I don't know. I just thought that, hey, why don't I build the Twin Towers? And even though the Twin Towers came down when I was like 3 or 4, um, you know, I feel like I'm a pretty patriotic person, and that's a very important part of American history. So I did this. My groundbreaking was also April 2021. So same time as I was building that iron farm back there, I came over here and I'm like, I just want to build 2 big twin towers. And so I did. And it used to only be to that line right there. That's how high it used to be. And I had a antenna tower that went all the way to the height limit of 256. Let's see, let me land right here. 256. And so that right there is 256. That's the old world height. And when I found out that the world height would be going up to like 319, I ripped down the towers and then I made the building itself taller for both of them. And then, you know, the update came out 2 days ago, so I made that yesterday. That antenna tower. And for some reason it kind of clicked to me, you know, I realized after, especially after making that iron farm, that I wanted to make a world that was like self-sustaining, and I didn't have to go mining for blocks all the time, but I could have farms that were constantly making things. And so I'm like, I just decided I could make a downtown city, have lots of tall buildings that would cover my big ugly farms. And that was kind of like the Empire State Building, which I'm still working on building. So I just decided, you know, I'll make skyscrapers and I'll just put farms inside of it. And with these 2 towers, I decided that that one was not going to have any farms in it. That's going to be my luxury one. It's going to be the one that I furnish and I make make it look pretty on the inside and decorate it. And this one's gonna just be empty. And what better way to cover an empty giant building than with a giant American flag? So I got some sheep here. I had to get silk touch for the grass. But that's how I made those flags. These three are not done. This one, which is facing whatever that way is, north, that's the only flag that I'm completed. I need to finish the other ones. But I made elevators in here with flying machines. And I've got better elevators in some of my other buildings, but these are the first ones I made. There's one all the way up there, and this one here works too. They're really annoying and really loud, and this, even if I didn't have elytra, I'd always just use ladders because it's so much better. But let me fly up here. This is where my bee farm is. It makes way more beeswax than I need. I don't really use honey, so I put shears in all of the dispensers, and all these chests are full of uh, honeycomb blocks. And so I'm gonna probably start building a lot more buildings with that stuff just because I have so much. Sorry if this makes you dizzy. I'm not gonna go through every single tower because most of them, like I said, are empty or they have farms in them. This is my New York Stock Exchange. I made this in February 2020. So last year, I guess right as the pandemic was starting, I had the brilliant idea to get into like stocks and I day trade sometimes. And the New York Stock Exchange building has always been kind of a cool building to me that I've known about. And so in an effort to kind of make my city look more filled and dense and have filler buildings, because at the time I just had these two towers, I had to start making smaller buildings to, make it feel more like an actual city. So I decided to make this one. Inside there is my cactus farm. There's nothing too cool in there. And in here, I just have a basalt and a stone generator. And that's where I got most of my basalt. Like you can see the outline here, and some of my other buildings have a lot more basalt in them. I want to show this really quick. So this is my tower that I decided was not going to have any farms in it. It's just going to be furnished. I'm going to have my main house, which I don't really come here very often, but this is where I say I live out of, even though I don't come here very often. Um, I did live out of here for a while, but still not really. Over here, I have a working elevator that works very well. It's got these automatic doors that can sense, or iron doors, that can sense when the elevator's here. So the elevator is these 6 pads, and you push the button and it goes up, and the doors close. I can demonstrate that later. But if I come down here, I've got a beacon, and I was gonna make a second one here, but I am like one block too skinny, and so I'd have to make a protrusion right there so that the door could open properly. And instead of doing that, I just decided to put a sign on it that said out of service. That's how lazy I am. And so I never had to build another elevator. Up here, there's nothing too cool. I kind of made like a cafeteria area, and I've got villagers in there. They're asleep, um, just to kind of make it feel like, I don't know, like I wasn't alone in the skyscraper by myself. But I call my luxury apartment, I call the area that I live my luxury apartment. It's up here. Go in through the top. Like I said, this used to be the roof, the top of the building, but since the update increasing the height limit, I decided to make it a little bit taller. And so, yeah. So if I come down here, this is where the elevator brings you up. There's only one stop. It doesn't have like multiple levels you can stop at. It's either bottom floor or top floor. That's it. And at the time, I actually started getting into playing Grand Theft Auto 5. And in there, you can buy like luxury apartments that are in skyscrapers. And so I was trying to model this after that. Like, this is kind of my work area. In here, I have a little discussion room or board room. Oh, I probably need to light those candles. This is where I decided I could come and discuss with my friends adventures we were going to go on, and then I'd give them all their gear and we'd go on an adventure. I've never since used this room. This is a lecture hall, which is made for having more than like the 8 people that can fit into the boardroom if I had to give a lecture about something in here. And this is my office. Probably the most decorated room in the entire world, or this world, not the real world, in my Minecraft world. I can lock the door if I need to scare someone. I've got almost every music disc. I think there's 2 more that came out with the update, so maybe I'll have to go find them in a cave or something. I don't actually know where to find them. Got these parrots. They were a real challenge to get because, like I said, this used to be an old world 1.5.2 that I played on a hack Minecraft client with. So these birds, I had to travel pretty far to get them, and I had to tie them to a lead and pull them all the way back here. And I think I lost quite a few on the way in the Nether, but it's okay. Then if I come through here, this is my secret entrance to my luxury apartment. You can't get there through the elevator. Amethyst. You can't get down here through the elevator. You have to go through the secret entrance. And this is my living area. So over here I have like a tool workstation. These are all my armors, my backup set of netherite. I know it looks funny because I have a texture pack, but you know, it's just the way it is. So this is my enchantment area. Got a few books. Got a couple notch apples. 2. Nothing too fancy. I've got the dragon egg up there in a cage so it doesn't escape. Come down here, and this is my bedroom, which I never sleep in, and I'm not really quite sure why, but these are the new axolotl fish things, and I put 4 of them here in my fish tank, but they just sit here in the corner. They don't swim around the tank. They just, I don't know. Oh, I do have a foot stone. So kind of weird. Just kind of fish that look in the corner. And I was trying to make my apartment have like this weird demonic theme on the last level, so I made 2 of the biggest portals you can make. I believe if you make it one more wide or tall, it won't spawn anything. And so I was gonna have like pedestals here or fire or something, but I gave up. And obviously I have to finish it because I don't even have my walls finished. You can fly out and die. This is the elevator shaft. So yeah, there's the flag that I need to finish. If I come over here, probably running long on time. Maybe I need to hurry up and come back in later videos and do more in-depth tours of each building. This is supposed to be my train station. It's based on the train station in my hometown, but if you look at pictures, it looks nothing like it. But at the time in my head when I built it, I thought it looked like that. I built it in May 2020, and I was planning on making it because I knew this was kind of going to be the headquarters of my city, and I was going to have different rail lines that run to different parts of the city. But obviously, rails aren't really that helpful, and travel rails are really only good for automatic farms. So, anyways, this is my tree farm. Massive building. Don't need it to be this big, but for some reason I thought I needed it to be this big. Dark oak is definitely my favorite tree, so that's really all I grow here. And this is where I come and get all my wood. I get quite a bit of wood from leveling out areas that I want to build on. But dark oak, um, it's just the one that I don't have. So I come here and I grow it all. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm probably gonna go to the item. Oof, a little laggy. I'm gonna go to my main item farm. Gosh, someone's texting me and it's kind of bugging me. I made this statue as like a secret entrance to my new item sorter and storage facility. So you come down here, and like I said, you can kind of tell this is the remnants of the desert that was here. It was so shattered and blocky. Um, and at some points, you can tell by this, instead of like trying to level it out, because I was trying to save sand because I knew I would need the glass in the future, instead of filling this all in, which would make my run world better, my slurring my words, make my world run better with less cave space. I just covered this all with netherrack so that I could save the sand and make the ground flat. And so when I did that, I had this big open cavern here. And, you know, June 2021, I'm like, I need, my world's getting pretty cool. I need to upgrade. I need to make something where I can have tons and tons of blocks that I can just come, get a bunch of blocks, and then go and, build whatever the crap I want to build. So obviously you can see it's not done yet. I have no idea why I built this hole here, but I think I'm going to do something cool at some point. Um, but I invested all of my iron I had at the time, and I made a ring of hoppers that went all the way around. So it's a continuous loop, and if I ever have to clear it, make sure there's nothing bad in here, I can flip the switch. I do have an emerald. It takes about 2 minutes to go through all the hoppers. That's just how big it is. So sometimes if I want to just make sure it's not clogging up, I'll hit the switch and wait for the emerald to come through because I don't have any filters that pull emeralds out. Uh, that comes from my stalactite farm, which honestly doesn't even make that much. This is like as much as it's ever made, so that's like 2 months worth. Pumpkins, don't get that many pumpkins. Don't have that big of a pumpkin farm. I do get quite a bit of gunpowder, bones, arrows, basic stuff. Iron, which I get quite a bit of iron, so I build with it. Um, Poppies, all sorts of stuff. But then I also have things over here like building materials that I don't get from farms. I do want to make a ghast farm that makes things like stone. Actually, I don't know if gas can blow up stone, but like tree stuff. I want to get things for that. These are some of my building blocks, like uh, basalt, which at my basalt generator, which I AFK at sometimes, I have a chest that I can just put all the stuff I mine and it comes down here and filters itself out anyways. So yeah, this is kind of where I'm at right now. Um, at first I was weirded out by this checkered pattern of lanterns, but it looks pretty cool to me now. It looks like when you go in a big empty warehouse and turn the lights on, that's kind of what it looks like to me. So, I like it. I'm gonna stick with it. And yeah. Coming up here, there's not a lot much more to show. I have a lot more plans to do more. Um, that is just an empty building I built with honeycomb and sand because I have way too much of it. That's just an empty building. I've started naming my empty buildings random filler buildings, so RFBs. So that's random filler building 1, and that's random filler building 2. Maybe I should go over here. That lighthouse is empty. This, if you might know, is Dr. Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. It doesn't look like as accurate now that I've built it. It's probably too wide. But when I first built this, I was planning on making it an XP farm, like um, the one at Spawn. And this is where the hoppers would be. But I started building it, and luckily, before I really started making the portals, I tried to spawn the snowman first, and he kept dying because this spot right here is technically in a desert, and so he kept dying, and it ruined everything. So instead, I just put a bunch of sheep in here, and those sheep are the sheep that I use to make this area. So you might be asking why I've covered everything in carpet. And honestly, it's just to make it flat. And mobs can't spawn on carpet. So even in some areas, some of the areas, I was hoping I'd get lucky. I put torches under some of the carpet, and that'll kind of light it up a little bit as a transcendent block or translucent block, like glass or slabs. You can see light that'll pass through it. But even in the dark areas where I don't have enough torches, nothing can spawn. So you're almost, if you're in this area, you're almost perfectly safe. The only thing that can really hurt you is phantoms, which, I usually sleep enough that that's not an issue. So, anyways, this is Freedom Tower, which, if you know what that is, it's the tallest tower in New York, and it's supposed to not replace, but be a model of, American ingenuity and American, I don't know what the word I'm thinking of is, but the ability to build back or something. And right before I built this, not too long ago, I finished my Guardian farm, and I did it the cheap way. I just covered the underwater pyramid in soul sand and built a killing chamber. I had so much, you know, of the prismine bricks and lanterns that I'm like, okay, I got to build a cool tower. And so I built this. And it looks really cool from the inside. There's nothing in there. I was gonna try and make it like that tower where everything's luxury inside and I'm gonna have elevators, but I didn't do that. I've still got sheep in here that I don't want to move out. But it looks really cool from underneath. And since the update, I'm gonna, now that the height limit's higher, this tower is actually the same height as those towers, so I can put like a radio tower on it. Yeah. If you look at the tower and you know what it looks like, I'm gonna try and make it look like the black circle radio tower that's on top. But anyways, this is, let's see, I think I have a sign. I should really be looking for these signs. I put them all over the world and then I forget about them. Zanesville. So Zane is the name of my French bulldog, and recently I decided I was going to rename my town to Zanesville. Don't know how long that's going to stick, but anyways, I started building this in September. This is my city center and trading hall and villager breeder. So I'm just going to fall down here. That's my villager breeder, and I've got it set up kind of funny. I'm always had such a hard time teleporting or not transporting villagers. So what I do is I get a villager out of there with a boat and I row him down here, and whatever trades I want him to have, I'll trade with him and he gives me one I like, and then I'll move him into here, which is the trading hall. And I don't have that many villagers yet. I really only have like important ones like, let's see, unbreaking, mending. That one's very, very important. Channeling, that's for my trident, which I spent so much time trying to get the stupid trident, and I never use it. So these guys protect you, and I've got golden apples, which help you turn them back from being zombies and give you better trades. So I have this door here, which I can open the door with a lever. Yeah, I can open the door, let a zombie in, and then he comes over this way. I would open a trap door. Let's see, you come through here. And then the zombie would be trapped behind them, and he can't hurt them until I drop the lever. And they can't get out because of the trap door and their funky little hats. So, orcs are good. You throw the apple at them, you give them the or no, you throw the potion at them, give them the apple, and then their trades are like half off. So it's pretty nice. Like I said, villager trading is one of those things that like it's good, it's not really necessary, unless you're trying to make OP stuff like efficiency, silk touch, mending. So when you get to the point where you've got enough stuff built and you want a way to make armor for you and your friends, it's a good thing. That's a tower I'm going to build soon. That's my factory. There's nothing there. Obviously, you can see how much of an eyesore it is. It's an iron farm or it's 2 iron farms and a mob spawner. That up there is the Teen Titans Tower. It's empty. And there's no lights in it to make it black. I don't, like I said, this is an old world, and now I believe there are geodes below level 0 now that the world's updated and I can see in my X-ray texture pack, I can see that there's stuff below that I can go exploring. What does that actually mean? I forgot to come over here. So if there's any Lord of the Rings fans here, maybe you'll recognize what this is. This is my new mine, and it's based on the Dwarven Kingdom in like the Hobbit movies. Maybe you can tell. I don't have copper, so I can't make it that green color. So instead I use this, I think this is granite, right? Yeah, polished granite. So I made it out of granite, the doorway. But at the time, this was like a shattered savanna biome, and this mountain, it looked like a perfect doorway here. And so I think at the time I just finished watching the Hobbit movie, so I went ahead and made it. I don't really come here too often, like I said, because I got my grinder or my AFK stone grinder, and also I'm doing so much terrain flattening that I have so many materials, stones and cobblestone and smoothstone that I don't really need to mine for materials. But this is what I've mined out so far. Oh yeah, the bedrock's gone. That used to be bedrock level. So it looks like I can dig down further. If I come over here. Oh, right. Huh, deep sleep. Yeah, I gotta dig down. Hopefully there's a geode down here so I can, get some amethyst and make an amethyst farm. I know you can make a amethyst farm. They're not super fast from what I've seen. This is a path to my old mine. But anyways, for a while I was thinking I was gonna make, I was gonna clear out a bunch of area down here, and then I was gonna make an underground village and bring some villagers down here like the Dwarven Kingdom would be. But yeah, underground villages are, when you think you're gonna make a cool underground cave village, it always looks cooler in your mind, and then you mine it out and you're like, that's cool, but nobody sees it unless they come down here. Like I made the staircase, I was like, oh, it's gonna be an empire down here. I'm gonna build a castle down here. But yeah, when you get down to the bottom, what the heck, stupid Enderman. You get down there and it's not worth your time. So, like I said, I've got a lot more things that I could show. Ooh, maybe I should show this. This is fairly recent. This is my super smelter. And my bamboo farm, which you can see right there. So the bamboo falls down here, comes along this way, and if you need to cook something, you can put it in this chest here. Redstone timer lets your chest get full enough, and then it goes around and fills up all the furnaces, and then it comes down here. So I have quite a bit more glass down here. I named this my weed house. I'm not really quite sure why I did that. But yeah, started it just this month actually. So I think I built this 3 weeks ago. Oh wait, it's December now. So last month. Time sure flies when you're having fun. There's not a lot more I'd like to show you, but like I said, I plan on expanding this way And when I first started building my city, I never thought it'd be as big as it is, but I've got so many more plans of things that I want to do, and I've decided I want to spread that way and this way. And in order to do that, I really am going to have to flatten these plateaus over here. And you can kind of see I've already done some, like I flattened a little bit of a hill that was right here, got quite a bit of stone from that. And over here, we've got a foundation for something there. I've got my beacons with haste, which makes it way faster to mine, and another beacon over here. So when I start mining out this, this is my new, since my elytra might almost be dead, this is my new uh, XP and gold farm. Let's see how good it's working. Oh, it's working pretty good. Nice. Come down here, and I used to have it set up so that I could get the XP from enchanted swords that the pigs drop, but it fills up your chest, it fills up everything. And so I've got enough rotten flesh, I don't need that either. So everything that they drop gets thrown in lava right there. And golden nuggets come here. So this is a good place to get XP, and it works very well. This over here, I don't know if I should really show it. It's a failed trident and copper farm. My plan was to make it dark, and I've seen videos, and guys are always like, "Oh, it'll get you a trident in 1 hour of AFK," but I made this, and nothing spawns in here. So maybe I'm just an idiot. It's based on the Marina Bay Sands Hotel in Singapore, I think. It's like three towers that have like a boat-looking platform on top. And so my plan was to make some sort of luxury hideout here, and the only way you could get here is if you had elytra. So only my friends that had elytra could come up here. All the other ones, they'd be too poor. They couldn't come up here and hang out with the cool guys. But obviously, I haven't built the luxury lounge up here yet, so that is on my job list. So that's basically everything else. This is supposed to be my Seattle Space Needle, but it's not done yet, as you can tell. But I have a working elevator in here, and this one is probably the elevator. What the heck? Carpet's coming out for some reason. This is the elevator that works the best, so I'll go ahead and send it up. You can see both those doors over there and these doors closed. And the elevator is really loud and really annoying, so I'm not going to ride it. At first, I started building it in iron block. What the crap? My mouse is dying. I'm going to die. I haven't finished building the platform that you come up here and you can look. You can see the world or whatever. When that comes up, these doors will open. It's fully functional. There's a button you can send it back down. But I've made quite a bit of it out of bone blocks, and I did that with the tree farm over there as well, because bone blocks from a distance look almost the same as iron blocks. So I've used that as a substitute, but now I think mob spawns are different in 118, so I might not actually have as much bone as I thought I did. So that basically sums up my builds. I mean, I've got, I could show you the end, but there's nothing really there, and the nether's pretty boring. I've got lots of portals, but I don't have a very decent nether hub. So there's that. I've got my new mine. That's my copper mine is what I call it, and I've got my guardian farm, but I don't think I'm going to include that in this video. Like I said at the beginning, if people want me to do tutorials on farms or automatic block things, I could try, or building tutorials, I could do that if enough people request it. But For now, I think I'm just gonna stick with this, and we'll see how it goes. This is my brother Davis's castle, and maybe if we decide to stream together in the future, make videos, he could do building videos with me, or we could record our time playing together. He used to have a little house here, but he demolished it and decided he wanted to make it a castle out of blackstone and gold, kind of had like another theme. He made this weird end chair with elytra in it. Um, this is probably the coolest thing he built. It's just a big decorated portal. So, anyways, gonna need some more fireworks. If I come over here, I've started flattening out this area as well to give me room to expand if I wanted to build other things in the future. This is supposed to be my other brother Caden's base. He has another one over there somewhere. It's like a weird survival house. There's an Enderman over there. But Caden likes playing Grand Theft Auto a lot, and I used to play it too, but I actually got banned like a year ago, so I can't play Grand Theft Auto anymore. Um, and this is supposed to be based off the Diamond Casino. Obviously, right now all he has is a frame, but we'll get him to finish it later. And me and him have decided we're going to make this like a luxury area. So I'm going to make casinos. I'm going to have lots of gold and expensive blocks that I get from my farms over there in downtown. But yeah, for right now, there's not much to see here. Over here is what we call our raid area. I built this tower, and there's actually an outpost that's not too much further down there. So we go and we get the bad omen, and we come over here, and this is kind of where we fight. There's a lot of omen flags around. There's the bell. I trapped a bunch of villagers up there just because they kept dying down here. And yeah, over here is where my wife's house is. She doesn't play very often, but occasionally she'll log on and play. I made this really oversized bridge to get me to her house, but I never use it, and it's not finished. Um, I'll show that in a minute. This is her house. It's a cute little dark oak. Oh, dang it. Let me break this. She's got a cute little house. If you turn up your render distance all the way, you can see my city pretty good actually from here. Lag Central, here we come. But yeah, you can see like the Empire State Building in the distance. You can see the Twin Towers, and you can see my castle too with that tower. Let's go back to like 18, see how it runs. But yeah, she's got this cute little house up on the hill, some carpets so nothing spawns, and she's got plenty of torches, her animals, bee farm, and item storage. Yeah, cute little area. This area I also started flattening out, and I think I'm probably just going to put some random filler buildings here. I'm not going to put any farms because I'm too far away from my city here to have any, really put in any time for some farms that wouldn't be worth it for me. But, I could have like some suburbs here or some, downtown condos or housing towers. Oh, wow, that lag was pretty bad. This is supposed to be my dock or my pier. So it's based on I think the Monte Cristo Pier in California. It's the one that's also on Grand Theft Auto. There's like the roller coaster and Ferris wheel on it. So I was trying to build this as just to be something cool. And obviously I made it out of honeycomb because I have way too much honeycomb. It's not finished. I don't have enough gold to make the powered rails, so it doesn't work if you get on it. But I've made the outline, and from a distance, that's all that matters. You don't actually have to see the minecart running around. This area up here, like I said, is kind of just some flattened out area. I did start building, like, I guess a temple or a sanctuary for a little bit with iron, but I needed the iron for something else, so I tore it down. And I think what I'm gonna do, since it's right here next to my city and that's my old castle, if I ever do get back in like a medieval mood, I think I'm just gonna build a mega castle right here. Just, the area is kind of perfect. I can see my subjects down here. I've got this watchtower that I made, which is a replica of my first one that I'm very, very proud of. Um, if you're wondering what that white building is off in the distance, that was just a tower. I was gonna make a tower that went to like the sky limit, and I did, and then now it's just an eyesore, and I try to avoid talking about it. But yeah, so I got this area here, and I got this cool bridge. As you can see, this is all leveled out, but there's nothing here. There's no villagers living here. So I have a couple bridges and checkpoints before people can get to my castle. So I think what I've decided to do, just next time if I ever decide to get in a more of a medieval mood, I can, especially now that I got deep slate, I could make it a castle out of deep slate right here. Um, and I could watch my city grow and get taxes from the villagers or something. Just kidding. I don't know how that would actually work. So that's probably what I'm going to do here. And, that probably wraps up the tour. I don't know where I would want to end my tour. Um, where could I end the tour? Maybe I could end it like right here in front of my tower. Not the tower, the statue. No, I gotta end it up in my penthouse. God, look how great I am at flying with Elytra. So, like I said at the beginning, I'm not trying to become a famous YouTuber. If I get enough subscribers or if I get enough people that want me to make more videos, maybe I'll consider making tutorials or adventures, or I could even do like a Let's Play series. But at this point, I'm just trying to document my world, and for nostalgic purposes, I'm trying to make a journal so that I can go back and look, because I plan on keeping this world for much longer, and even through the future updates, I've decided I'm not going to ever make a new survival world other than for like testing things. But this is the world I will always play on, and I'll continue to build my city. And as new mobs come out, new items come out, and new farms that need to be made to obtain certain blocks, if I could figure it out and make a farm that works really good, maybe I'll make a tutorial for it if people want to see how I obtain my blocks, or how I get inspired to build certain buildings. I've got a whole list from my phone of towers and things I want to build. And so I've got no shortage of ideas of things I want to build. And if people want to see me build them, or, I actually made a Twitch channel and I streamed a few times, but I realized that Twitch doesn't actually save your video. Well, it only saves for like 15 days. So let's see, what was my favorite disk? So it only saves your videos for like 15 days unless you highlight them. So I think, maybe I'll stream on Twitch, and if I do something cool enough on Twitch, maybe I'll save the video clip and upload it to YouTube. But we'll see. Like I said, I've got a full-time job. I work about 60 hours a week. Um, and so I don't have a lot of time to put into Minecraft, maybe 2 hours a week at most. Maybe a holiday weekend I could do more or stream more, but I'm not going to be here consistently. But any requests you have, I can consider it. I'm just really here to play on my world and have fun, and if I inspire other people from my builds or make you want to do something in your own world, great. Um, just let me know. If I did have an impact on you. I think I need to make this chair one more wider. Sorry. But I hope you enjoyed my world tour, and if I Wish I could have gone more in depth, but I don't want to make this video too long. But if there's anything you want me to show you more in depth, I am more than willing to. And I guess I will see you next time. Bye.